This is the story of a girl named Nika who was traveling with her family. Unfortunately, her parents died in an accident. As a result, Nika was sent to an orphanage. The caretaker, Miss Margaret, was a very strict woman. One day, Nika managed to remove her late mother's necklace from her neck. At the orphanage, Nika befriended another girl named Adeline, who had been living there for a long time. Due to her appearance, Adeline was often overlooked by potential adoptive parents. People assumed she was sick. Despite this, Nika and Adeline became close friends. Eventually, they came when someone was interested in adopting Nika. As Nika said goodbye to Adeline, she couldn't help but remember all the difficult moments she had experienced in the orphanage. Nika met her new parents, and Miss Margaret warned her to behave well. Otherwise, she might end up back at the orphanage. This period would serve as a trial to determine whether Nika would be adopted permanently. As they were leaving, they heard the sound of a piano played by a boy named Regil. Regil was the most talented boy in the orphanage, but Nika didn't like him at all. Along with Nika, the couple Anna and Norman also adopted Regil. However, Nika had no desire to live with anyone other than Adeline. Inside the house, they noticed a piano that belonged to their deceased son. Norman and Anna showed Nika and Regil their respective rooms. Nika observed that Regil took some medicine and had a hidden box. Nika cautioned Regil not to spoil anything, emphasizing that she wanted the adoption process to go smoothly. Regil responded by warning her not to enter his room. During dinner, Regil's behavior became inappropriate, and Nika felt uncomfortable. She got up and left the table, with Regil following her. When he approached, Nika called him a monster and retreated to her room. In her room, Nika remembered her difficult days in the orphanage. There was a belief that crying would attract demons, and Nika recalled how she'd cried silently. Meanwhile, news arrived that Regil's health had worsened due to an ongoing illness. The next day, Nika and Regil attended school together. When other girls stared at Regil, Nika noticed a girl named Billy. However, Regil got into a fight with a boy who had made a derogatory comment about Nika. Back home, Nika questioned Regil about his sudden agreement to the adoption. Regil's response was cryptic, and he warned Nika not to touch him. The following morning, Nika found herself tasked with keeping some clothes in Regil's room. As she entered, Regil referred to himself as a bad demon. Nika realized that Regil was aware of her intense dislike for him and her fear of his presence. At school, Nika met a boy named Liner, but Regil also comes here and tells him to stay away from Nika. After school, the whole family goes shopping. Anna asks Nika to try on a dress. As soon as Nika enters the trial room, she starts remembering some things from her childhood and faints. We're shown that as a child, Miss Margaret kept Nika in closed rooms. In the black room, Nika had only Adeline's hand to support her. Miss Margaret treated her very badly, which left Nika completely broken. Now Nika is free and has a house. She finds out from Anna that today is Garden Day, which means everyone gives roses to each other. In the lockers, there were many roses. One in Mickey's locker, one in the cat's locker, and one in Nika's locker, all in black color. As soon as Nika sees the rose in her locker, she understands that it was Regil who gave it to her. She confronts him, but Regil denies giving her anything. Meanwhile, a boy named Liner comes downstairs to meet Nika. Regil watches all this. Nika and Liner go to eat ice cream together and talk about themselves. Back home, Regil struggles with his thoughts and sees both of them coming in drenched from the rain. Liner tries to get close to Nika as she goes inside. Nika observes Regil playing the piano and feels strangely drawn to him. She realizes that there are good things about Regil and she wants to understand why he behaves the way he does. Nika comes across a video of Liner in which Regil had beaten him and left him in bad condition. When Regil returns home, Nika questions him about his actions. Regil, suffering from a high fever, falls. Meanwhile, his parents are stuck in heavy traffic. Nika takes care of Regil, giving him medicine and staying by his side. They lie down together, and Nika holds Regil. It is revealed that when Nika was in the orphanage, Regil had taken her mom's necklace and kept it safe to prevent Miss Margaret from taking it. Adeline knew about this and understood that Regil was taking care of Nika's necklace. Despite their complicated relationship, Regil wants Nika to hate him. As they sleep together, Nika wakes up when their parents arrive. Regil's fever has subsided. Nika goes to her room, wondering about everything that has happened. They stop speaking to each other again, and Nika spends time with her friends. They all go to study at Mickey's house, who is a millionaire. Nika discovers that Mickey has a fondness for cats and would place a toy cat in her locker every year. However, Mickey does not reciprocate the cat's affection and is reluctant to express her feelings. One day, Nika encounters Liner again, who confesses his liking for her, but Nika declines his advances. Amidst this exchange, Nika drops her belongings, including a birthday gift for Regil. Upon returning home, Nika finds that many guests have arrived for a celebration. Among them is Ashia, who speaks unkindly to Nika. Regil is also present, sitting with everyone. Nika's mother has invited Nika's friend Adeline to the party to celebrate Regil's birthday. Anna announces their intention to officially adopt both Nika and Regil, which upsets Ashia. the girlfriend of Anna's son Alan. Ashida's reaction saddens Anna and Norman. Nika and Adeline discuss their past in the orphanage and express a desire to expose the truth about Miss Margaret. Adeline emphasizes the importance of Nika's testimony, given that Miss Margaret had been particularly cruel to her. However, Nika is hesitant to confront Margaret again. Later, Adeline approaches Rigel and questions whether he will reveal the truth to Nika, suggesting that he had come to the orphanage solely for her. Rigel, however, is reluctant to disclose the truth. That night, Nika sees Rigel playing the piano and offers him a belated birthday gift, allowing him to choose whatever he wants. As they grow closer, Liner interrupts, confessing his love for Nika and expressing his inability to see her with Rigel, as they are soon to become siblings. Nika flees inside, where Rigel admits he isn't good for her. Despite Nika's insistence on staying with him, Rigel urges her to seek better things, believing he can only cause her harm. The next morning, Nika informs Anna about a dance party at their school. Billy arrives to accompany her, while Anna inquires if Rigel will attend. Rigel declines, seemingly wanting to speak privately with Anna. Meanwhile, Nika learns that her friend Kat has been receiving roses from a secret admirer each year. Mickey confesses to Kat that he has been the one giving her roses, which leads to an argument and Kat storming off. Rigel also leaves the house. At the party, Billy is intoxicated, and Liner approaches Nika to apologize and ask her to dance. As they dance, Rigel arrives and witnesses Liner attempting to kiss Nika against her will. Rigel intervenes, pulling Liner away, causing him to flee. Nika confessed to Rigel that she couldn't imagine her life without him, and he reciprocated her feelings. However, as they were leaving, Liner, in a fit of rage, chased after them in his car, intending to harm them. To avoid being hit, Rigel and Nika jumped off a bridge. In the water, Nika realized that Rigel had always been there for her. Nika regained consciousness in the hospital and confirmed with Adeline that it was indeed Rigel who had been supporting her. She began to inquire about Rigel's condition, and the doctor informed her that Rigel had shielded her with his body during the fall, which combined with his pre-existing illness had resulted in him falling into a coma. Nika's situation worsened upon learning that Rigel had refused to be adopted with her, leaving her in the care of Miss Margaret. Nika found the necklace that Rigel had left behind. She started crying upon seeing it, but Miss Margaret would not allow Nika to see Rigel. She blamed Nika for Rigel's condition. After a few days, Nika gathered her courage and filed a case against Miss Margaret. However, the children were intimidated and not ready to give a statement against her. They were unable to speak in her presence. Nika began to fear that she would lose the case. During the trial, Miss Margaret's lawyer asked Nika intimidating questions that made her run away in fear. Anna came and comforted Nika, after which Nika returned to court. She bravely recounted how Miss Margaret used to force Rigel to witness the crimes committed against the other children, which led Rigel to gradually break down. He came to believe that he was a monster incapable of love. Nika had endured a similar ordeal during her time in the orphanage. Ultimately, Miss Margaret was found guilty in court. Nika rushed to Rigel's side, held his hand, and began to cry. For the first time since leaving the orphanage, Nika shed tears of relief and expressed her love. Upon hearing this, Rigel's hand twitched, and he regained consciousness. Friends, the story ends here. How did you like the explanation? Please let me know by commenting. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel.